Hi there everyone, my name is Tim Price. We own a Citroen C5 from 2004, and it's recently had a few problems with the suspension, with the headlights flapping up and down when they're used in the dark. The parking system has got a few problems, and a couple of other little bits. So I chose to buy one of these things you plug in, but Citroen are not like everything else. You have to buy a very specific one and download some code called Lexia, which I've done. And I thought it'd be really good to show you guys the issues I've had getting it working. I did get it working, but it's not obvious how to get it working. So please carry on watching and you'll see the steps I have gone through and the steps there are to restart it each time when you want to use it again. Right, I bought the connector from a company called Tools for Cars. They delivered it to me very quickly, and it was as described with a cable. So you can plug it into your car and you can plug it into a standard USB port on your computer. What I didn't understand at the time is that they didn't give any software. When I went back to them, you could read on their pages that you had to buy the software separately. It wasn't too much. I wanted to change the data on my car, and to do that you can only do it in a certain version of Lexia. Newer versions don't support that. So when I bought that software, it came as a what would you call it, a Windows 7 VM, virtual machine. So it's here and it's just opening now, the virtual machine. This is like, for those of you who don't know, it's like a computer within a computer. And so they give you this, so you can click on it and then open the virtual machine and play the virtual machine. So let's do that. So this is restoring it because I've done it already myself. I've opened it already myself. And what that comes with is an application called DiagBox. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to actually show you DiagBox because it just takes forever to open and go through all the steps. What I've done is I've taken pictures of each step and put them in a Word document, and I'm going to walk you through that Word document. It probably doesn't look that professional, but it's probably better than sitting for half an hour just watching screens. So when you click on DiagBox that I was just showing you, it shows you this waiting page. So please wait during the activation of this product. I'm told it works better if you switch the internet off on your computer. So after a little while that disappears and this black screen appears. So it's totally black apart from this header section here. Then after a very long while, see here I'm at 12.5 minutes I've waited to get to stage 3, so that's why I haven't wasted your time. You then get to stage 3 where it actually shows you this screen, but it's got a big white section here and you can't really do anything on that screen. So you have to wait. When you've been waiting for 20 minutes, then this screen comes up and you're able to choose Citroen or Peugeot. As I said, we have a Citroen, so I click Citroen. When you get to the next page, I don't think I've got a picture of that. No, I haven't. When you get to the next page, it says you can automatically read your VIN. So you click on a little picture of a car and it goes away and says, yes, and on my car it said I've successfully found the VIN and got the correct VIN number, and then it said it was searching for the data related to my car, and it failed. It kept on failing. I tried that several times and it failed every single time. So in the end, what I did is I actually selected the car, because it gives you a picture with all the different Citroen cars on it, and you can then go and click on the one that is your car. So I did that, and then it eventually shows you this screen where you can choose Lexia. Right, when you choose Lexia, and you have to manually put in your VIN number, and when you do that, the next step is it asks you for your RPO, which is related to when your car was built. Now, as I said, our car's 2004, and this number here corresponds roughly to 2004. We're in the application. Let's click back to that. It does include a thing for calculating how to use with Lexia. I think in this document it tells you how to calculate that number for your car, or if you've got all the owner's documents, you might be able to just do it yourself. You look it up in your own documentation. I didn't have that information, so I had just made up that sort of number. Anyway, you put that in, and you're again waiting a good long time before it goes on to the next page. So I've commented this is where you search automatically for the VIN, and then you search for the vehicle data. It kept on failing, and so I just used the RPO route. Okay, so if you sit and wait and wait and wait, eventually, it's literally about half an hour in total, then this sort of page comes up, and congratulations, you've now got into Lexia. So the first thing it says is authentication in progress. So you sit and wait for that. Several minutes later, it goes past that page, and you get to the congratulations, you've got to the front page. So the front page looks like this. It's got the following options, and what I've done, so if people just want to know how to get it started, then they can stop watching the video now. What I'm going to go on to now is to show you some of the pages when you click on diagnosis, for example, because I looked on YouTube and couldn't seem to find videos that did show people using this, so I thought it would be good to show people what the screens actually look like. So one of the options is configure your diagnosis tool. I didn't try and change anything here, but this is the information for my tool. Just so you know, for navigation, the F9 or the clicking this button takes you back to the previous screen. This one, I don't press this, it takes you right back to the top. It sort of exits everything, I think. So then I did a global test, and so then this green thing fills up eventually, and you can see all the results like this. So this is the car we've got, and this is what it passed on, and this is what it failed on. Okay, so it failed on plenty of things, and that's the second page. What was very interesting, we have got problems with suspension, and it didn't actually talk to it nicely, so that's one to investigate further. But for things like the direction headlamps, you could click in there and you could look for errors. You could, if it had errors, you could reset them. You can then make the mirrors, the headlamps, sorry, go left, right, up, down, separately and together. So I got my wife to stand in front of the car and check that it was all working nicely. Right, the next thing, you can, for each system you've got, this is the DSG system, and you can look at exactly what version it is on the car. You can't really do anything with that data. You know, you can't change any of that data. Suspension. So when I tried to click on the suspension and say, tell me more about the suspension, it says no dialogue with the ECU during initialization. And I tried several times, different approaches to try and get it working. And I could never get it to work via this. Although when you sit in the car with the engine running, you can make it go up and down by pressing the buttons. I got a fault on the driver's mirror, and when you clicked on it, it said there's a permanent error in the heating output. So that's probably just a wire that is clicked onto the mirror, has got a bit crusty, so I will look at that in the future. And I tried to actuate it and it failed, so what I'll have to do is fix that. Another error it had was that the siren for the alarm didn't work, so I activated that. It did work, so I reset that error. That was a good thing. The air conditioning error. Oh, is that the air conditioning error? Passenger compartment humidity sensor not defined, so I don't really know too much about that one. The air conditioning does work in the car, but I'll probably Google some of these errors to try and find out a bit more about them. The right hand sensor coherence. Oh yeah, this is the parking sensors, because the Citroen has 4 at the front, 4 at the back of these little sensors, and you never know which one is not working. So when you use Lexia, it can actually tell you the rear right hand and the outer front left hand sensors, and tells you what the problems are. So I can investigate that, buy a couple of new sensors, plug them in, and see what happens. I tried then reading the fault log, and there were hundreds and hundreds of errors, but most of them were this one, this external rear right hand sensor. So it's the old parking sensors, and a couple of battery voltages, but that's probably to do with the battery being disconnected at some point. It said the coolant level's insufficient, so I'll fill that up. And then there was no communication with the radio ECU. I recently had to take the radio out to fix one of the buttons on that, so that's probably that problem. One of the things I was very interested in was the EOLIS level, because the car's done about 100,000 miles, and I wanted to just see where the EOLIS levels were, because we're thinking of buying some more and putting it in, and you need to get into Lexia and change, you know, edit one of these fields to tell it you've put some more in there. I haven't done that investigation to see which one you need to change, but I did write out all of the data from the additive pages, so I'll have a look at that offline really. I found some interesting information about the particle filter when it's replaced for each different model. So the Citroen C5 at 180,000 kilometers, so I'll look forward to that. What did I look at next? I looked at each of the different systems and checked for errors, and some of the errors you could explain and some of them you couldn't. Yeah, I seem to have put this one out again, but this ECU still isn't connecting. That will need investigating, I think. What else did I do? This is the DPF, the pollution system. That has 4 faults, as said here, so I can investigate some of them and see if we can clear that system up, because it's been a persistent source of the engine light coming on for quite a while on this vehicle. And then there was absolutely loads of pages of data to do with the DPF system, which I just printed out for information really. I don't know, you could perhaps compare them with your system and see how different they are. Or some kind person could tell me what's wrong with our system. Yeah, there are loads of pages of that. So I think I've just shown you these pages, the electrical information, the driving information, and the particulate filter information. So on the whole, it's a rich source of data to help you diagnose these systems. The faults we've got is the headlight wagging, the suspension has been worked on, is a bit funny, the parking sensors and the DPF. And what I found is that when you clicked on download, list of download files crashes. For download files, it crashes Lexia, which was not ideal because you got to go right back in and start it again. So you got to waste half an hour of your time starting it. What they say in the instructions for this VM is that once you get this thing working, instead of closing the VM, what you should do is just go like that. Is it that one? That. And what you do, you want to save? Oh, sorry. You go into the VM. I clicked the wrong thing. Here it is. Yeah, that one. It says, what do you want to do? Do you want to power it off or do you want to suspend it? It's always best if you're in a session to suspend it, because then you don't have to waste the half hour getting back into the session. Apparently you can just plug the cables in, start your VM, and it starts from where you left it last time. Okay, I hope that's been helpful for everyone.